So Hunter Biden he's ran afoul of the law, but he's handled it like a Democrat handles it, which is to say, he's owning up. He's admitting to the things he did wrong, and he is obeying the law. Crazy, right? This after the GOP was trying so hard to make it seem like Democrats are just as corrupt as they are, and that the problem is a corrupt justice system. Now, the irony is, of course, that is the problem. As they do with all things, they take a true thing and then they lie about it. As in, if they stabbed somebody, they would then shout, "This person's been stabbed." It was probably some black guy. The standard Republican way of doing things. They take a true thing, the person got stabbed, and then they tell a lie about it, usually in a way that that hurts somebody else. So when Hunter Biden had made a plea deal, that put him in a bit of a pickle. How are they going to talk about this now? He's getting consequences for his actions. Oh boy. Well, Midas Touch did a breakdown that I thought was very enlightening. And we have seen before that the GOP literally sends out talking points to folks and then asks their various representatives, including in the media, to talk about them from that perspective. And they often trick others in the media to go with their framing. In other words, they work very hard to coordinate these things. Well. A pattern has been found. It's worth noting, and we should know how we should address it. And we should also take lessons from this about how going forward, what we can listen for so that we can immediately counteract it. Let's have a look.
The bottom line here, Hunter Biden got a sweetheart deal.
A sweetheart deal.
Oh, sweetheart deal. Oh, this, oh, that.
Hey, guys, Fred Wellman with the Midas Touch Network. Well, Hunter Biden got a deal, and funny thing happened. Watch.
Continues to show the two-tier system in America. If you are the president's leading political opponent, the DOJ tries to literally put you in jail and give you prison time. If you are the president's son, you get a sweetheart deal.
So, what are they referring to when they say sweetheart deal? Well, he pled. It was a plea bargain. Was it a sweetheart deal? Well, Fred Wellman's going to do a great job of breaking down the specifics, but the short answer is of course not. It was pretty standard, as a matter of fact. Do I think we should treat some of these things differently? Yeah. But did he get treatment that is different than somebody else would have gotten in his position for the crimes he did? Surprisingly, no. Surprisingly, no. Because the DOJ and its representatives and the judicial branch of our government seems to know that they have permission to apply the law to Democrats and their families. So, no, it was not an especially gentle deal. But at the core of it, it was a plea bargain. That's how that works. So when they try to contrast the way Trump will be treated, first of all, I just want you to be ready to answer the folks in your community that make a big damn deal about that with a question, which is then if Trump wanted to get this sort of treatment, why didn't he plea bargain? If he wrote, theoretically, The Art of the Deal, how come he didn't make one? Why did he fight this the whole way? Because, as we are going to see in court, he did it. He did wrong. So why didn't he make a deal.
Now, this does nothing to our investigation. It actually should enhance our investigations because the DOJ should not be able to withhold any information now, saying that because of pending investigation, they should be able to provide Chairman Comer with.
Okay, so he's doing a montage here. We're going to go back to it. After McCarthy, I'm going to stop interrupting so you can see the broader picture. But I do want to address that. Understand you cannot bargain with MAGA. It's not the same as you can't work with them. You can, for sure. You can get them to chase some of the same goals that we have. It is, believe it or not, entirely possible to work with MAGA, but you can't bargain with them. You can't appease them. You can't ever, even if it's something they say they want, you can't just give them things and hope that then they'll be your friend. They will never, ever be on your side. Who's the you I'm talking about? Literally anyone other than themselves. That is all MAGA politicians are. You cannot bargain with them. Just bear that in mind. The wicket for this, I'll tell you right here. We'll reiterate at the end, but I'll tell you right here so we can enjoy the rest of this rather humorous video. Also mildly infuriating. The wicket is simply bear in mind that you can't bargain with them. So if you see a representative of yours talking about how they're going to stop fighting on one thing to appease MAGA, or they're going to reach across the aisle, and they're not doing it in terms of getting MAGA to vote for something we want, but rather they're going to reach across the aisle by watering down something that we want. Tell them, no thank you. Be ready to tell them that. Because they're simply, there's no point in it. And they are Republicans on steroids. This is ultimately true of all Republicans. Look at how Joe Manchin reacted in utter shock when McConnell said, we're going to support a candidate that's running against Manchin. He thought that amongst the various corrupt deals he made, one of them included not having competition from a Republican. And of course he was wrong, because this is what the GOP is, and MAGA is just the cartoon version of the GOP. They're a caricature portrait of the GOP. You cannot bargain with them, so remember that. Now, the phrase we're hearing, sweetheart deal, they say, is a plea bargain.
With any information that he requires.
Yep, that didn't take long. Old Speaker McCarthy jumped right in because he's going to talk about this sweetheart deal. Sweetheart deal. That's a weird term. Kind of an old school term, right? A sweetheart deal. I mean, it's not a common term. I mean, whoever uses the term sweetheart deal, or do they? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how the messaging machine works and how effective it just is, and how the people we need to not fall for it keep fucking falling for it. So I'll give you an example. Day starts off, DOJ announced their Hunter Biden deal. As you may know already, he's been charged. He got 2 misdemeanor tax charges, and he got a diversion program for falsely filling out a gun application form. I'm going to leave the legal stuff to smarter people than me because I'm not a lawyer, but what I am is a political consultant. I'm a strategist. Matter of fact, my specialty is communications. What do you know? So let's look. Donald Trump came out with a post right away on Truth Social that says this. You can look at it. Now, read that post very carefully. What don't you see in there? You don't see the term sweetheart deal. That was right after the deal came out. You know, Donald Trump is very online. But then McCarthy came out. Once McCarthy came out, I'm pretty sure the RNC issued their talking points. Why am I pretty sure? Well, here you go. Watch the flood. I mean, you've got the GOP. You've got the GOP Oversight Committee. You've got the Mike Pompeo, Stephen Miller, Tom Cotton. Andrew Clyde, Mary Miller of Hitler Was Right fame. Ron DeSantis came out because, you know, Ron can't miss the train. Oh, don't forget, Matt Gaetz himself.
Just want to remind everybody that Matt Gaetz transported a child across state lines for the purposes of paying her for sexual intercourse, and I cannot encourage him enough to sue me if that isn't true. So what's he highlighting here? A phrase, and it's a phrase used to sum up very quickly the stance they want their folks to take. The people that support MAGA will know nothing beyond those two words when it comes to this matter. That is what they will say to you. They know that they're being told to say this. And it's also used to trick giant news organizations into repeating it. Now, look, I already did. I have yet to find the silver bullet for this, as they say. But if we understand what it is we're hearing, we will know how to prepare for it. They are issuing talking points like this, and the talent of the right, what they've really built up, is boiling down their argument into a quick phrase and repeating it. The way to defeat that is to simply be ready with an equally quick response. Wasn't a sweetheart deal. It was a plea bargain. He pled. So you hear sweetheart deal, you respond, it wasn't. It was a plea bargain. Plea bargain.
He was a little bit late, though. Matt took a while. He was probably hungover. It took him a while to get his post out. You know, everybody was down for the sweetheart deal. And that's how it works. They issue the talking points, and everybody gets down on it. And you know, the funny thing is we all mock it. I mean, it's funny, right? They're all saying the exact same thing. It's just so ridiculous. Except one thing. It works for the Republicans. Because right away, well, let's start with the New York Times. Michael Schmidt from the New York Times. What's it saying, that little screenshot right there? Sweetheart deal. Hey, MSNBC had their pundits discuss it. Let's check out what MSNBC had to say. Watch the framing.
That this is not some sweetheart deal, but this is pretty standard. My own experience is that first-time tax offenses like this are generally treated pretty leniently, as well as the felony count, which is the pretrial diversion. There's substantial issues that statute may be unconstitutional. So I think that all in all, this seems like a very fair resolution.
Sweetheart deal, baby. And you know what? Let's go to CNN, where we get not one, but two sweetheart deals. Minute and a half discussion of this sweetheart deal.
Obviously, you're already hearing a lot of shouting, oh, sweetheart deal, oh, this, oh, that. None of us really knows the details of the possible charges here and exactly what was agreed to as part of this plea, Jennifer. But how does one assess whether this is the type of deal that a normal person, not a president's child, would get in this circumstance?
Real quick. Just want to point out one thing. So yes, we get it. They come up with a phrase. They get people to repeat it. They make that what the discussion's about. Is the answer to never repeat the phrases they use? No, because what were those folks on MSNBC doing? What are they doing on CNN? They're addressing the talking point. Equally, we cannot concern ourselves with constantly adapting to what MAGA's doing. That ultimately is what they rely on. And they it's so easy for them to just cast thing after thing out there and get us all, and by us I mean literally everyone who's not them, including major network media, including regular folks. They get everybody to talk about what they want to talk about by doing this stuff. So no, we also can't just not say it. We have to simply develop our own version, first of all, so that this tactic is not unique to them, and also constantly point to consequences. So, you hear somebody talking about this. Look what he actually did. 2 federal tax misdemeanors. Misdemeanors. And a gun charge. He was on drugs. You're not supposed to have a gun when you're on drugs. Yeah, he's a drug addict. There's nothing new about that. Recovering, I understand. Good for him. The conversation when they say, oh, but he got a sweetheart deal. If you find yourself debating this, simply ask for what he did, what would you have preferred? What did he get? Well, he got probation for a tax misdemeanor, and he's got to pay those taxes. Okay. That's the end of it. I mean, what would you have preferred? Prison for 20 years. For a misdemeanor? That seems harsh to me. And it's definitely harsh in the eyes of the court, because I don't know of anybody that got prison time, much less significant jail time, over a misdemeanor. Certainly not for a first offense. Just don't overreact. And you simply turn it on them. The burden needs to stop being on us. Let's talk about this on the other side. The burden needs to stop being on us. So put the burden on them. Start taking advantage of the fact that they have no information, these people we're debating with. Be like, wait a minute. You say he was treated, my understanding is you're saying he was treated better than others, whatever. What did he do exactly? And you'll know the answer. You just saw it there. 2 tax misdemeanors and a gun charge. He bought a gun when he wasn't supposed to be able to buy a gun. The gun got thrown out, and he got probation, and he's got to pay those taxes. Okay. So you ask what he did. They won't know. You can supply that information if you want, but you don't have to. You can stop right there. Wait a minute. You don't know what he did? Why do you think he got a special treatment? Why did he get... You don't even know what the charges are. If you didn't look those up, why are you here all offended over how he was treated about him? Maybe they do know what the charges are. Okay. What should his punishment have been? Simply ask those questions, and you take the burden off yourself for having to defend sanity to the insane. And you put the burden right back on them. And I think you're going to find that the more you get used to doing that, just calmly listening to the nonsense, ask a couple of questions, real simple things. What are they saying? They're saying he got unfair treatment. Okay. What about his treatment was unfair? What did he do? What was the punishment? Get used to doing that. In addition, remember this. No, he could have gotten 15 years prison time, and they would have said, oh, he should have gotten a death sentence. That's who these people are. So be crystal clear that you cannot bargain with these people. And if you're talking with them, that's the way to talk to them. Put the burden on them. They show up having never done their homework, so insist upon handing in the homework before we talk about the assignment. However, do remember, in the long term, MAGA, frankly, GOP as well, you cannot bargain with them. So if you have a representative who represents you, talking like they're going to make some sweetheart deal with MAGA, tell them don't.